dive into, well, we're getting into the summer months. And yeah, even though the governor right now has got us in a modified 1.5 phase for coronavirus, it doesn't stop some of the road projects that are essential. And I know we've got a couple of really big ones coming up. So I'm going to start first in like King County with Lisa Van Cise from WSDOT. Now, Lisa, I just got the notice that we're going to see some big changes we've lost the West Seattle Bridge, and now we're doing work to the Duwamish River and the First Avenue South Bridge. What are we doing?
Yeah. This is a big one for your viewers and listeners to know about. So we have work on the northbound SR 99 Duwamish River Bridge coming up starting in July. We've got 14 nights of northbound closures so that we can work on the metal grid deck there. It needs rehabilitation. So for about 14 nights, folks are going to need to know that northbound bridge is going to be closed. The good news is that we're working very closely with SDOT because of the West Seattle Bridge closure, and this is the main route folks are taking.
Right.
That can't take the West Seattle Bridge. So the lower Spokane Street Bridge will be open to all vehicles during those 14 nights of closures, which will start in July. So there will be that option. Bottom line though, as folks who depend on the West Seattle Bridge know, this is something that changes your travel. It adds time, and it's something you need to plan around. So really important to stay engaged and know when those nights are coming. WSDOT app, local media, WSDOT travel alerts, anything you can do to really plan your trips will be important. It's important work, but at the same time, it will interrupt your quote unquote normal travel patterns.
Yeah. And it's interesting too with that because, Sound Transit right now is working on Delridge as well. That's another one of those routes out of West Seattle that people are working on. So we're running into limited options, but it's definitely something that we're going to watch. Now, Lisa, there's a couple of other projects. I'm going to go up to the North Sound because in Ferndale, we've got a big fish passage project that's happening as well. So we're going to lose some lanes on southbound I-5.
Right. We have a lot of fish passage work actually that's continuing to just churn along. So we have fish passage work, as you mentioned, up north. We'll have several of those just keep coming over the years because it's something that we're really committed to, is removing those fish passage barriers. Some other big work happening on US 2, as I'm sure you're very aware of, is we have multiple projects, including paving work, including 19 bridges out on US 2 that we're working to rehabilitate. And the Pilchuck River Bridge, too, will actually be reduced to a single lane coming up at the end of June. So Snohomish County, Skagit, Whatcom County, it's not just King County work, it's really up and down the I-5 corridor and east and west on the US 2 corridor as well.
So now that we've kind of scraped the surface with King, Snohomish counties, let's go down to Pierce County, Thurston County. That's where Cara Mitchell from WSDOT is this morning. And Cara, we have made it through some of the changes with around Joint Base Lewis McChord, the ramp there at Berkeley, but what's this about raising Berkeley?
Well, we're not raising Berkeley, but we're raising I-5 at Berkeley. I-5 at underneath the old Berkeley overpass, which is no longer there anymore, sits below the water table. And one of the design features in this project was to raise the elevation of I-5, both northbound and southbound, up to 14 feet to get it above that water table to eliminate the need of a pump that runs constantly to keep water off of the freeway there.
Okay, so when does this work start and what can we expect?
We're actually really excited to get started on this critical point of this project. Northbound I-5 lanes will likely shift starting 1 week from tonight, next Friday night, onto new lanes, and that will be the first step in a multiple series of traffic shifts on I-5 through the Lakewood area to get that I-5 up to that new 14-foot level above the water table there.
So how does that happen? How do you do that? Do you just kind of stick something underneath the roadway and kind of like slab jack, you just lift it up? How does that work?
It's been a lot of fill work over several months worth of work. Way back in March, we opened up Berkeley and then we actually removed the old Berkeley overpass so that we could continue the widening there.
Right.
We were able to widen the northbound side, get the fill in, get a lot of asphalt in and get the overlays on. And we're just getting ready to move 3 lanes of traffic up onto that side where the new lanes are. And then we will have an open space where the old northbound lanes are. Southbound will remain for another probably 3 weeks, and then they will shift as well.
Okay. So that's not the only project that you guys are working on. I heard that you guys are going to start repair on 512. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, it's been a while since we've been out on 512, and this is really some great preservation work that's going to happen this summer. Starting Monday night, drivers can expect overnight lane closures on both directions of 512 between Canyon Road and State Route 7. There will also be some bridge joint repair work that's going to happen on the Waller Road overpass as well.
Okay, fantastic. So looking to the future, I'm going to go Lisa first. Now, did I miss anything here outside of the Duwamish River and heading out on Highway 2 and out through Ferndale?
Let's see, how long do we have? So I'll back up. So we had a lot of work that was put on pause because of the pandemic. So now as those phases start to kind of roll out county by county, we're putting those safety measures in place. We're seeing hand washing stations on site, 6-foot distancing in some cases, extra PPE, because we really want our folks to be safe. But that said, we've got a lot of work to catch up on. So we have projects that have our crews kind of chomping at the bit to get back to work. And so you'll see work starting back up on Interstate 90 between Eastgate and Issaquah, our auxiliary lane project out there. That's one of our projects. We have a roundabout out in Marysville that's finishing up some work at SR 9 and 108. We have about 3 different projects on US 2, but basically from about Bickford to Skycomish, you have several work zones out on US 2. So something to be aware of. If you use US 2, really pay attention and stay engaged. Make sure you know when construction is happening and what your route's going to look like. We talked about the northbound Duwamish River Bridge closures that'll be happening overnight. And then we have out on 203, we've got that really slow kind of settlement that will slowly be getting back to work out there. Now that we can be working within that 6-foot distancing, but safely, we'll have our crews out there starting to look at the data to see what exactly is happening with the slide out there. And we actually just got notice this week that we can get back to work out there. So that's the good news. We have crews that are able to now get back to work, but we want to remind folks to please watch out for our crews, because you'll start to see more of us out there. It's important before you get behind the wheel to know that work zones will be popping up left and right. It's summer. This is when we're out working a lot more. So remember to be safe.
And that's something that, actually, I'm glad that you brought up, because I talked to State Patrol about this, and it has been a free-for-all on the roads. I mean, with less traffic, people are speeding, and they're really not paying attention. So now that work zones are starting to pop up, really slow down, give them a break. Now, Cara, I know that we touched on 512 and I-5 there at Berkeley. Is there anything else that maybe drivers need to know about moving forward?
We still have work happening in Tacoma and in Fife with the southbound HOV program. We still have weekly overnight lane closures and full closures of State Route 167 River Road, while crews demo out the old northbound and part of the southbound old I-5 bridges. So overnight drivers need to be prepared for that. That will be on a detour. Those closures will stay in place through at least one more week. And, as Lisa said, our crews are changing and being able to add more and more activities to each one of these projects. So drivers will start to see more activity, and we really do need them to slow down in our work zones and pay attention, watch your speeds. It's important to note that I-5 through JBLM does have a reduced speed limit.
Yeah.
We reduced it down from 60 to 50 miles an hour, and we did that in conjunction with State Patrol and the ongoing construction that's happening through there. When those lanes shift, people are really going to notice that northbound is up higher than southbound, and it's going to feel like you need to slow down through there, and people should.
Fantastic. Well, ladies, I appreciate your time. I like this whole roundabout with the girls. It's kind of like having coffee with your friends. So I really appreciate that. And of course, everything you need to know, follow DOT on all of their social platforms. Lisa's at WSDOT_traffic. Cara is at WSDOT_Tacoma. And of course, you can always follow me, and that's Tracy T Traffic. Thank you guys for your time today.
Thank you, Tracy.